Hello, everyone. It is another episode of Teed Up. I'm your host, Tyler Rothrock. We are back after a pretty cool Masters week. Pretty fun to watch. I don't know. It's weird. If anybody watched the Masters, you saw a different side of Augusta that you haven't seen before based on the regulations and the restrictions the media had at the tournament in previous years with fans, but obviously we are in a little different situation. So it's kind of cool to see, a different perspective of the course. Our guest on this show had it gave him a certain opinion. He thinks he could maybe, compete on Augusta National. I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys to listen to what he says and see if it's valid. But I'm excited. He's a comedian. He is a golfer. John Montague has a very funny show, Hacks, on Instagram and YouTube. It's a podcast and video show where he plays some golf with comedians, and it's pretty cool. So, and our conversation was fun. I'm excited for you guys to listen to it, but we're going to get right into it. Without further ado, here is our episode with Hacks. All right. Well, we tried to do this. We did this once before.
We did.
And due to my technical incompetence, we are back recording again with John Montague. You know him from the Hacks comedy show. And guess what? It's not about comedy. It's about golf.
It sure is.
That's a funny thing. I guess a hack, you could be a hack in anything, right? But
right.
I think the most common uses are golf and comedy.
Yeah. And outside of that, it's life hacks too. I've had a lot of people that thought I was doing a golf life hack show. Like, hey, here's how you cheat the system with golf. And I was like, It literally says, like, if you go on anything, it's like the tagline is comedians trying their best at golf. That's
right. Yeah.
I mean, it's right there. But it's funny because we are the exact opposite. Like our producer, Pat, and I always say it's like the last thing we want to do is give tips or like tutorials because we don't know
right.
enough or aren't good enough to tell anybody how to play golf or do comedy. No.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, and it's funny because if you're a hack in comedy, that's like you're I guess it's taking the easy road, right? I mean, it's like stealing jokes technically, maybe a little bit, or not stealing, but like just using obvious observations.
Yeah, it just lacks originality, I think.
Yeah.
If you see someone and you're like, I think I've heard Seinfeld do this, that's a hack.
Yeah. Or like like you do like some road weekends with these comics. They're like been on the road for 30 years and they're just telling street jokes, like, airplane food is that's a little hacky. But in golf, it's that you suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in comedy, there's a lot of people that suck that aren't hacks.
Right.
In fact, being a hack in comedy almost guarantees you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. You did something good enough that someone noticed that you probably didn't write it.
Right.
That's what's funny too, because I've seen a lot of times in comedy, just all over the area I've been, Central PA to Jersey up to New York, like there are some guys that like deliver awesome material, and then someone's like, that's like old. That's an old.
Yeah,
old
I did that.
like,
I was hosting one weekend. I forget what club I was at. It wasn't like an A club. It was probably like a D club. And the feature was this guy from South Carolina. He was a nice guy. I won't name his name, but he closed on this bit. And I was like pretty new to comedy, right? So I didn't know what the hell I was like. I couldn't tell anything. So he closes on this bit. It's really good. I liked it. I'm like, because it crushed.
Yeah.
I was like, that's clever. I've never heard anything like that. So after the show, I'm like, hey man, I really like that closer. That's funny. He goes, you can have that if you want. That's been passed around. You can have that. Use it if you feel like. I think we're doing this differently, me and you. I think I think we're approaching these two things differently.
I think that was like, and back in the day, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but it seems like just from watching different things, listening to different things, like it seems like back in the early years of comedy, like that wasn't a rare thing
Right.
for someone to do a similar act or sell their act too, which I I saw that like I was on a podcast or something. They were talking about how it was actually in that Marvelous Mrs. Maisel show. I don't know if you watched
Yeah.
that. They talked. My wife and I watched and we loved it, but they were talking about how like certain comics would buy acts
Yeah.
and just do them. And then I found out recently too, like magicians do that too. I was listening to Nate Bargatze's podcast, and he had his dad on, as a professional magician, and he said that like most magic tricks, someone will develop it for years and years and years, and then sell it to the highest bidder.
Huh.
So it's funny, like now, if you saw someone doing that in comedy now, it would be the epitome of a hack, and they'd be
Right.
buried.
Right.
But yeah, and I think it's just because back in the day, like you didn't, if someone was doing that bit in Ohio and also in Philadelphia, the chances of the paths crossing or
Right.
a crowd seeing the same comic was probably pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And now it's like any idea we have, we put on, we just throw it right on the internet right away.
right, and that's what's tough too. Like I have it so many times where I'll send out like a message to people, and I always hear big name comics talking about this too, where you're like, I got 2 minutes on trash trucks. Have you heard this? Is this something that sounds familiar? And it's like someone will tell you, oh, I heard, Tyler's got a bit that's kind of about trash trucks, kind of like that. So it's
Right.
like you do run into that where they always talk about that. Can't think of it now.
Like parallel thinking.
Parallel thought. Yeah, parallel thinking. But there's a difference between parallel thinking and then just doing.
Just
doing
lifting.
Material.
It's just funny how the word hack is like, I mean, it's not completely different between golf and comedy, but it's kind of different. Like it's a totally different meaning. Like,
yeah,
you'd rather be well.
It's the two things you don't want to be called in either, really.
Right.
It's not like, and that's what kind of when we first picked the name for it, even started the show, I was like, this sets the bar for us. Like it's all uphill from here. And if we do something stupid or it's like, oh, we're hacks.
Yeah. Exactly. That's I don't know which you'd rather be called a hack in golf than in comedy.
Yeah.
I think it stings, but it's not as
right. Because it's usually in golf, it's usually followed like he's a hack, but he has fun. Like he's out there.
Yeah.
No.
Would you consider yourself? You're not a hack in comedy, but would you consider yourself a hack in golf?
At times I can be. I think we talked about this last time. Like in the past 2 years of golfing, I've gotten less competitive and more of like just trying to have fun. Yeah. And that's when like the real hacky stuff can come out. When you're like you're on a par 5, you rip, driver into the woods, you're like, all right, well, I'm going to drop it, take a stroke. You rip your next shot into the water. You're like, all right, now I'm just going to see how far I can hit this ball, or let me get out a weird club and see if I can play this whole par 5. With
You do like the
with an 8-iron,
the tin cup. Roy McAvoy. Try to make 10.
Like we try to walk that line. Like we tried. I mean, I'm always trying to play good golf, but as soon as the wheels fall off, that's when it turns into fun.
I almost hope that the wheels come off because then it gets fun.
Yeah.
Like I think since we've talked, I played one time and it was the best I've played all year. And I didn't enjoy 1 second of it because I'm like, well, I gotta, this is the lowest round you can maybe ever have. Right. And then it's like, it's over. And you're like, that wasn't very fun. Nobody cares anyway.
The only way you enjoy it is if it does become the lowest round, because then afterwards you're like, okay, all of that stress and like everything I was going through my mind was worth it. But if you're 2 strokes over, above your greatest score, you're like, well, that was a waste of a day.
Right. And then you know what else I noticed? And I don't know the people that you play with, people lie. I know people that just lie about their score anyway. So it's like, I hate that. I like if your score is your score, right? Like I don't know how it makes you feel any better if you shot an 80 and you're like, I shot 77. It's like nobody gives a shit. Right. Number one, in your mind, you think people think that's cool. They don't.
Yeah. Or I should have shot 77, but that one, the one ball hit that tree and it went left.
It's like, this isn't wind chill factor. Like you don't get that. It is, the score is a score. That's why this game is good.
I always feel like if he could, I feel like Bryson DeChambeau, I feel like he would lie about his score if he could.
Yes. Would
He
he?
just always has that look when he's counting. If you don't know, you're a pro golfer. Your job is to just know what stroke you're on. When there's so many clips where he's like you don't know where you're lying.
That's crazy. Yeah. Do you think Bryson would be a sandbagger or a reverse sandbagger?
I think, I don't know, because I think everything he does is very calculated on what he wants to appear. Like, he loves talking about, oh, I did this work and this is the reason. But at the same time, he'll be really quick to admit, like, hey, I screwed up. Sometimes the science doesn't work. So, like, I don't know. He might sandbag and he might not. He might toe that line.
Yeah, yeah. Sandbag. I always wonder which one's worse, because they're both bad, right? Like, so if anybody doesn't know, sandbagger is somebody that would lie about their score in an effort to improve their, inflate their handicap to win more easily. And reverse sandbagger is obviously somebody that lies about their score and makes their handicap lower for a reason that I have. That's the one that just blows my mind. I can connect the dots on a sandbagger. I get it. You want to cheat. You're a cheater.
Right.
But a reverse sandbagger is detrimental to your success. So it doesn't make any sense.
Then you're explaining your way out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that person that's like, oh, you should have seen me last week. It's always whenever I'm not playing with that person.
Right.
Oh, you should have seen it last week. I shot 76. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, you're shooting 76 and we're on 12 right now.
Yeah. It's 12. Like this, either that didn't happen or the wheels fell off in a most wild fashion.
Right.
It's, but I don't know. I don't know who's worse. Who do you think's worse?
I think the sandbagger, it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. So if you're competitive with it, the sandbagger is worse.
Yeah, right.
If you're just trying to go out and have fun, but keep it honest, the reverse sandbagger is the worst person, because that's the guy that's like, he's probably going to, like, the 14th hole tell you, I'm not keeping score anymore the rest of this round. You're like, all right, well, I'm still going to keep your score. Like, that's how it's played.
Well,
I thought the game, at least.
They're very lenient with their putts, like getting putts given to them.
Oh, the gimmies! It's seasonal gimmies. They're winter rules in September.
I'll say this: like, in a match, the good gets abused heavily. Like, especially in my group, like good goods, like on the back nine. I mean, there's some 10-footers that are getting good gooded.
Yeah. So it's funny, and if you tune in and watch hacks, you'll call me a hypocrite, but I love finishing out putts. Now, when I'm playing for fun, and it's hacks I don't think we've ever actually kept score on an episode of hacks, and it's either been because we got so tied up in filming it in the beginning, and we were just like, oh shit. The only time, actually, I can tell you, the only time we've kept score was we did an episode where we did mini golf.
Okay,
we kept score there. And I got ridiculed. We can talk about this. We're bringing my own putter.
You brought your own putter to mini golf? I
had to. I was the host of the show. I had to.
Dude,
it was a conversation piece. It was something to talk about. And
that's true.
It gave my two guests from the Falls Count Anywhere podcast. So shout out for them, a wrestling podcast. Brandon Youngblood, Manny Santiago. It gave them some fodder to just dig into me for being that guy.
Dude. So you brought a Scotty Cameron to mini golf?
I did. To as much of like a family mini golf as you could find.
Don't tell me you were eyeing up putts and like getting behind them.
No. I did throw a ball marker down, but it was only because I had hacks ball markers made as our merch. So I threw it down, and it was so funny because neither of them are golfers, so neither of them knew what it was.
Right.
And I think one of them just picked it up like it was a quarter.
Like Happy Gilmore, he started chewing on it.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah.
Did you win? You have to win if you bring your own Scotty Cameron. You have to win.
I did. I think we posted the score on there. I have it somewhere. I don't know.
All right,
but I did.
And all is forgiven then if you've won. You cannot bring a Scotty to mini golf and walk away.
Oh no,
the loser.
And that was, I knew going in. I was like, all right, if I can't beat these guys, nothing against them, but I'm like, if I can't beat them in mini golf, something I've played probably 300 times more than them, let alone regular golf,
Yeah.
then yeah,
Do you want to know?
it makes
I'm
golf
a
a big deal.
terrible mini golfer.
Really?
I'm my ex-girlfriend, we would go mini golfing and she would beat me almost every and I wasn't like letting her win.
Yeah.
Cause
Well, yeah, I mean, you being bad at mini golf is a matter of the way you've learned to putt and the way you putt does not translate over.
I guess.
You're probably trying to
That's an
read breaks.
excuse. That's an excuse,
You're
but
trying to work angles. You're trying to read breaks. Like it.
you just
Yeah.
jam it at the hole.
Yeah.
But we talked on the last one. Your golf career, you do have like tournament golf. You didn't play much tournament golf, right?
No. So I mean, the only competitive tournament golf has just been friends at outings, like little tournaments we enter. So I started golfing like young, but I never golfed like on a golf team in high school. I played baseball, and here in New Jersey, golf and baseball are the same season. So
Yeah.
I had friends that lived out in Pennsylvania, like teammates in baseball in college that grew up in Pennsylvania, and they played golf in the fall, baseball in the spring. I never was able to, so it was always just for fun. I thought about doing. I was the 4.5 year plan of college, and I played 4 years of baseball, so I technically still had one season of eligibility to put into. And I talked to the guys on the golf team, and they were just like, "Don't even try to come out." Like,
Where'd
I
you
mean,
go to college?
Eastern University, right out by St. David's. So their
Yeah,
home
yeah.
course is St. David's,
Okay.
and that was the main reason I wanted to play it because I think at the time it was like one of the oldest courses in the Philadelphia area, and it's this nice little like packed in. I lived right off of it in college, which is funny. Like it's this beautiful course, and we had a shitty college house like a block from it. But yeah, like I thought about trying. Oh, maybe I'll go walk on the golf team, and they were like, "Don't even attempt it." So I
What
didn't.
was their logic? Because it wasn't fun, or they're very good?
I think they're very good. I mean, they were for a D3 Christian college. They were talking themselves up a lot, but they knew my golf abilities, and they were just like, don't waste your time. So I just dedicated that time on drinking and working at
Well, I
the
think you probably made the right choice.
yeah.
And
But no,
what?
yeah, I never played competitive. I wish I did.
Uh-huh.
But
And like what was your relationship to golf growing up? I know your family plays golf. You have an aunt that
yeah.
was a pro.
Yeah, so my aunt kicked around on the tour for a while. She was the number one at University of Miami back in the 90s. Really good. I mean, she started playing up here in the Northeast, and then my grandfather, she was the youngest of nine. So by the time it was her to time for her to hit high school, my grandfather moved to Florida and bought a house so she could golf essentially every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she kicked around on the tour. Then she was a coach at Southern Miss down in where Brett Favre's from. She coached there for years. So it was in my family there. My grandfather at one point bought a golf course in upstate New York, a little
Oh
9 hole
shit!
course.
You
Yeah,
got that
back
golf
in
course money.
eh,
You're
I want
damn.
I say that and it's funny because I want people to see the course that he bought. It's a nine
Describe
hole
it.
course.
Describe it.
So it's a 9 hole course in the Adirondacks, up in way upstate New York, 20 minutes north of Utica. The this will give you the epitome of what the course is. The dress code is non-existent to the point where I've been paired up with guys in jean shorts, and that's it. Like
No
they,
shirt.
no, yeah, they have a t-shirt with them, but it wasn't on when
That's
the
what they
round
use to clean their
started.
clubs.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very late. It's a laid back rural area, but it's beautiful. It's like cut through the woods, all pine trees lying in the holes. Small little 9 hole course. I love it. I know it like the back of my hand. Um,
What's your lowest score there ever?
I shot 85 there. Very young too. We talked about this last time. I've never broken 80. So that
You
gives you
haven't broken
another
80 in your life.
no, that gives you another
Oh, it's
idea.
coming, man.
I know, and it's really a factor of I never took it serious enough for a long enough period of time.
Yeah.
So I always love golf, and I always will, and I do it. I keep talking to my one buddy who I golf all the time. I was like, hey, we should get serious, like when just he and I play or something. I was like, we should be playing a lot better than we play with how much money we put into this.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I shot 85 there, like young, like I was like 16 maybe, I think 15,
Is,
16.
is that your all-time low anywhere?
I shot 83 83 at a local course here in New Jersey. Yeah.
So that's the closest you got to breaking 80.
Yeah, and I got every bit of 83 at that course. So, and it's a course where you should break 80, and it's one that I need to just put together a serious round. It's one of those things I think, and this will make me sound like a sandbagger, or maybe not a reverse sandbagger. I think I could break 80 on a round by myself,
Okay.
but if I do that, I can't call my friend up and be like, "Hey man, I just broke 80." He'll be like, "All right, who you with?" I'm like,
Yeah,
nobody
was there.
seen it.
That's like the biggest fear in golf is getting a hole in one by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate fear.
I play, so the course that we film hacks at usually, they have a great like Sunday twilight rate in the summer. It's like $25, and you just go get as much as you can. And I played there. I was planning on playing 9. I shot I think like 39 or 40 on the front 9. And I was like, well, I'll just keep playing, get as much as I can. I was playing by myself, so like foursomes are letting me play through, and I'm tearing it up. So I finally put my friend on speaker. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just kind of hanging out." He's working on something. I was like, "I'm gonna put you on speaker for like the last couple of holes." And then, of course, me doing that, it started going in the bag, and I was like, "All right, man, I'll talk to you later." Like, just hung up.
Do you booze when you golf?
I will and I won't. So this isn't even a proper drink. I will if it's just like going out, like I think any outing. I've never been to a tournament or an outing sober, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious too. It's my favorite claim to fame. I've won 2 long drive competitions at tournaments and was just blackout drunk almost at both of them. Like,
You don't remember? You woke up with a trophy. You're like, what the
yeah,
hell?
just free swinging and just get a hold of one.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was actually the second one was the first. And I hate that I still count. It's the first eagle I've ever had because I essentially drove to the approach. I chipped on. I was like, guys, let me putt this. Like, no one put a ball down and putted and had an eagle. And I was like, I guess it counts.
That's an eagle. That's technically.
I mean, I'll take it. It's on the wall in my garage. I wrote on it and everything.
The ruling stands. We'll allow it.
The pressure of knowing that like I could hit my second shot 100 yards over the green, and I got 3 other guys that can, pick it up for me.
But give yourself an eagle, John.
That shows you a golf mentality. If you just approach it with, I have 3 other guys that can pick up the slack for me. Maybe
do you think it would be cool if the PGA Tour kind of did some type of scramble, maybe a 2-man scramble?
I thought you were going to say if they let them booze, that would be amazing.
Oh, well, that's a different. I think there should be a separate league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is just rumors. Wasn't John Daly trying to get something going like that?
Probably.
Or if that's just like there should be one tournament a year. And we were talking about this with my friend during the Masters. I want a tournament where it's like hand-me-down clubs. Like you can only play with a club that you got from your dad or your uncle.
Yeah.
So, and then all the balls have to be like, all right, today, Tyler's coming to the course with 3 Pro V1s he found last round. His girlfriend bought him because it sounded like a cool name, and 2 Slossingers that he found in the parking lot.
They should be like, you can only use the balls you found. Like you give them like a half hour to go through the woods.
Yeah.
And like whatever balls they find, they should be able to
2 range balls.
Range balls. There's not. Well, we're going to talk about the Masters, which before we get into it, I do have to give you credit. When we did record the first episode before it was mysteriously deleted. I don't know if your prediction had anything to do with it. I don't know what was going on. But you did predict Dustin Johnson would be the 2020 Masters champion. So that was well ahead of the first tee shot.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say that I have predicted Dustin Johnson to win probably the last 4 Masters. So
yeah, he's an easy one to go with, right?
He's just been my favorite golfer for years now, and it's like it's hard to hate him. Like, yeah. And I was saying we can get into it a little more, but this Masters was the perfect Masters for him to win. Like, it was 0 gallery, very quiet, very relaxed. Like it was him in a nutshell.
Right. So. And it was like just how the course set up, because the fact that it was in November, that course plays a little different. It plays a little shorter.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Not necessarily shorter, but it's softer. So you know, like if you're
Right.
longer, actually, I think it might play longer. I forget. I don't know. Whatever this,
I think they said you're getting more roll this time of the year there.
you get more roll.
I thought so. Could
I
be
don't know.
wrong.
I know it was very wet. And he's so long that
Yeah.
you know he takes he's playing when he's playing really really good. He's not playing the same course as the rest of the field. It seems.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Not
it
just
seems
him,
like
a couple of those guys, but there's like 10 or 15, maybe 10 guys on the PGA Tour where they're long enough and they're good enough where when they're playing well, it's a different. They're not playing the same course.
Yeah. Well, I said to my friend too, like Dustin Johnson might be better out of sand than he is off of grass. It's amazing. It's insane. Like there's so many times like I'll get nervous for a golfer watching him in the trap. I've never watched him in a trap and been like, oh shit, like he's in trouble here.
Yeah. No,
I think I love seeing that because he is such a long. He's so long off the tee, but he's amazing in his short game too. So I love seeing these kind of things.
He just had a really good week, and you're right. It's hard not to root for him, and it's like I guess some people don't. I lived in Myrtle Beach the year after he left down there.
Okay.
And there was like a wake of Dustin Johnson tales.
Yeah.
You know, and like every public course had a Dustin Johnson story. Most of the girls in Myrtle Beach had a Dustin Johnson story. So it was like this thing. And like I was down there like for golf. So there, like he was like the like this like urban legend, you know? Because he wasn't like he wasn't like famous PGA Tour superstar yet.
Right.
But then so I've always had this kind of like infatuation with him in positive and negative. Like, because I'm like, man, that guy, all the girls liked him down here.
Yeah.
They're telling Dustin Johnson, wouldn't that be cool if that was you? But it never will be. You know?
You're just telling girls, you're like, I know him. I mean,
yeah, I know. We played a couple of matches together.
I introduced him to Paulina. It's amazing. I'm actually aggressive. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good to see. Like, he's so fucking calm, man. Like, I just don't, nothing seems to rattle him.
He's calm to the point where it pisses people off, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like, people want him to explode, or they want him, like the whole him being interviewed, and they said, what's your favorite part about the Masters? And he said the sandwiches.
Yeah.
That's the best answer. And I think I love him too from a comedy aspect, because I think he's having more fun than like people think that people know that he is. Like,
yeah. And it seems like his relationship with the media, it's like he knows. I think he has more of a personality and he's smarter than what people think. And I think he's totally okay with whatever perception they have of him.
Yeah.
Because there is the perception that he's a big Southern dummy. And he's probably just like, yeah, if you guys, you can think whatever you want of me, just stay out of my business.
I'll
right?
be the Southern dummy,
I'll be the, because they'll ask him questions and they know it's like, I don't know if you saw, there's a video, like a compilation video of Dustin Johnson's best interview answers.
I think
he's like, every question, it's like, Dustin, what's your favorite course? He's like, I like them all.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, dude, thanks for making this real fun for me as a reporter. Well, and it'll be like, you're the greatest. What do you have to say about people saying that you're the greatest? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, dude, I guess we're not going to do stories on you anymore. He's like, okay, good deal.
That's what he wants. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has the track record now that he can do that. Like, he can back it up with, they're like, all right, well, yeah, I mean, you've produced enough. Like, you won the Masters. You should have won. Was it the U.S. Open where he was that a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. Well,
penalized.
Yeah.
The club in what they deemed a hazard, but it really wasn't, right?
Well, because there's for a long time it seemed like the people on like the tour rooted against him. Like they didn't want him to be their guy. I think he had some extracurricular activities that didn't necessarily. But I think what they realized is kind of like the Happy Gilmore story. I think they realized people like that.
Yeah.
Like the normal everyday person is like, that's what? Yeah, he's got a hot, wife, and he's drinking a lot and partying. Yeah, that's a cool guy to me.
Yeah, they look at it as he's not marketable. Like somebody, like Bryson DeChambeau is more marketable. He's
Yeah.
got more of a story. He's got something. He's a better interview. He's going to do all the things. But yeah, I think you're right. Like they start to probably realize that it's like, well, most golfers, like I think that might be one of the reasons I like DJs. If you had to pick somebody on tour that you feel like you could probably get paired up with and not play with, but like could talk to and get
Yeah. Have a
along
good
with,
time
like
with.
he seems like he would be. One of my favorite things with him is do you ever watch all the TaylorMade shorts that they did where they have him like all the
Yeah.
TaylorMade guys at the range? And it seems like every golfer loves him. Like
Right.
they all love being around him. They're all kind of like in awe. Like watching Tiger Woods be in awe of DJ like tee shots is awesome to see.
Yeah. And there's one that I watched where the TaylorMade guys were, I think they were playing a hole, and just like, I think it seemed as though DJ is like the more funny of them,
Yeah,
like he might be like quiet in front of cameras, but like in the locker room, I think he's like, seems like he's one of the funnier guys. And
yeah,
Tiger too.
yeah.
That's what I wish, like, and I want to get your perspective on it. Cause I mean, you've been a fan of what you probably watch a ton of golf, right?
Yeah.
Golf's my favorite thing to watch. I like watching it nearly as much as I like playing it, but people don't like it. People don't like. I'm in the minority of my group of friends that like nobody watches it. They'd rather watch UFC, and I get it, but
Right.
something has to happen where golf, like, and maybe they're not even hurting because they get such good ratings. I don't know.
Right.
I think they're missing the mark somewhere, though.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's if they were to find a way to market it more to the masses, it would take away from a lot of like the purities that are golf. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you could be fun, like we're talking about, if they had a tournament where like they were allowed to booze or they're allowed to like
Uh huh.
play a scramble. Like I think they're starting to do more of that with like the having was
The
it Peyton
match.
Manning and
Yeah, and I love that stuff. I did. I thought that
yeah.
was great.
And I think especially now that's good for golf because they need to find a way to continually put out content aside from the tournaments.
Right.
I mean, I think they need to find all these. The PGA needs to find a way to embrace uh, online content the way that like someone like TaylorMade's killing it with online content. If you
Yeah.
go on or YouTube and just type in TaylorMade, there's hundreds of videos from the Trotty tour, the tour bus where he's making clubs. That got me into like wanting to make and like Frankenstein together clubs.
Yeah.
And then there's videos of all the TaylorMade guys that play TaylorMade balls on the range playing together, and you see them goofing around. So it's giving you another perspective to it. But I don't think the PGA, and they probably don't want to. They don't, you know.
Could. Yeah, it could, because it's just it's interesting that like the I think the last one you've said that you never were at a PGA Tour event, and right?
No, I've been to one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah,
So like seeing there something gets lost on TV about how insane the conditions that these guys play in is. Like, and I
yeah.
always think about like Rory's like somebody will shoot like a 65 and be a little unhappy with it. Never a
Right.
65, but like a 73. And I'm just amazed that people are shooting the numbers that they're shooting at the courses that these people they're playing at. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
And I don't think that translates to TV sometimes, because I
No.
have friends that play like a muni track, like with me, like I have a friend, he thinks I'm the greatest golfer of all time because I'll go out and
Yeah,
I'll shoot like a 75 with him at some muni track from the white tees.
yeah,
And he's like, dude, you should just come on, man. Like you're this close. I'm like, do you know?
yeah.
I would, if I played a PGA Tour course,
Right.
I would not finish the 18 holes. I
Yeah.
don't care. I'd lose all the balls I had. How many balls are you going to give me? 100? Fuck it.
Right.
I've lost them all.
Right.
You can't do it. Like, and people don't understand how hard.
I fall into that because watching, especially without a gallery there, Augusta looks so playable on TV. I said it to my friends. I was like, I know that I'm wrong in this, but I was like, I think we could hold our own at Augusta.
Do you think, because I felt the opposite based on the TV coverage, because the TV coverage this year gave us a different perspective. We've never seen Augusta that way, and I'm like, holy shit, there's some undulation here, man.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and I think what I realized that it seems more is how not wide open, but how much fairway there is to catch there.
Yeah,
But that's not like what makes Augusta tough. I mean, that's what, as soon as I said to my friends, he's like, dude, put a ball on that green that's not staying still for 2 seconds with how much rolls on them. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I know I was wrong in saying it, but just the zoomed out look without a gallery, I think that's what always throws me off too. Is people would die if they were standing where the gallery is
God.
with like me or any of my friends that I play with. Like I think that all the time when you hit a ball. I'm like, I'd be screaming for right, for left every single shot.
I think Zaire Golf. Is that how you say it? Zaire?
I think so.
They just posted a video of I think it was probably either like a pro-am or some kind of celebrity scramble. And there's a woman teeing off, and I don't know who it was, but there's a gallery, and she snipes one into the gallery.
Yeah.
And then she does it again. And then you hear the people be like, why? Why are you? And like the first aid's coming. Like she's sniping balls. It's like, holy shit. I don't know if I think the pressure would overwhelm me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do it every single time I golf. I'll like be on the tee box and I'm like, could I do this with somebody 30 feet away? Like, I don't think I could. Like right to the right of me. I never hit a ball right there, but I guarantee if you put someone right there, I'd connect with them somehow.
Even I'm probably like, I'd be like, man, I bet you I hit this shitty and they're going to think I suck at this.
Yeah. Or
let alone hitting them.
Imagine hitting a putt with how many people were around the 18th green at Augusta. Like it was only members and a couple family members. So it's probably 150 people.
Yeah.
Imagine putting. I buckle when it's like I'm at a local course and there's just guys on the patio having a beer watching people finish.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to miss this 3-footer just because these old guys are watching.
Oh yeah. That's the, talk about breaking 80 or like, that's the biggest, if there was no pressure, and a lot of it's like self-imposed pressure.
Right.
That's like, I remember I played community college golf, which is, if you want to talk about the lowest form of competitive anything, it's community college golf. And, just think about the kid you went to high school with that went to community college, and how many of those were golf people. They're not many. And
a rare breed.
Yeah, it was a rare breed. We learned how to like do a lot other stuff on the golf course than golf. But I remember I think it was like my first tournament, and I was so nervous. I got like a 13 on the first hole, just because I'm like hosling balls everywhere.
Yeah.
And we played the practice round the day before. Everything was fine. But you add that little bit of pressure, and this is community college golf. There's no fans. I'm not even sure the people I'm playing against were even aware that I was playing golf.
Yeah.
This is like there's no stakes.
Pull it out further to when it's like if it's just you and one other guy and you get paired up with two people.
Yeah.
That adds, and they could be the worst golfers ever. I got paired up with a dad and the son that I think they just took it up this year. They were both like, the son was like 40, dad's in his 60s. And as soon as we teed off, I was like a nervous wreck. And I ripped my first drive, and both of them were like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long day for us." And I'm like,
"Right,
oh,
that's the feeling. That's the worst feeling in golf, I think."
Yeah,
it's like if you're playing with you're playing with strangers, and you feel them feel like the person you're playing with. If you feel that they think you suck, there's few worse feelings on earth than that.
How about, have you also been paired up where you have to ride in the cart with someone?
No, I'll never. I won't do that.
I had to do that. This was maybe a year ago. I was switching jobs, so I had almost all of last August, not this past 2 August ago. I had almost all of August off because the way this new job lined up would leave my old job. So I golfed all the time, and I would just go play by myself on like a Tuesday morning. And I got paired up, and they're like, "You got to ride with this guy." And I'm like, oh, "Come on, man! Like, can I pay an extra $10? I'll take my own cart."
Yeah.
They're like, "No, we're out of carts. We're booked up. You got to ride with them." And we hit it off. This guy's like around my age too, in his early 30s. We're having a good time. The other guy we got paired up with is this old guy that sucked. So we're kind of making fun of him throughout the round. I was like, "Oh man, we're really hitting it off." And I was like, it was almost like dating. So I got like to the end of the round, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. I was like, hey man, if you ever wanna like, if you're ever looking for somebody to play with, like I'm always kind of available for, last minute round. Or you're looking for a fourth, let me know. We exchanged numbers. He had like his girlfriend the same age as my wife, and I came home. I was all like giddy and excited. Told
Yeah.
my wife, I was like, I met this guy. He lives 2 towns over. I was like, his wife's the same age as us. Maybe we'll go out and grab drinks together. I texted him, never heard back from
Oh
him.
yeah.
Like
Well,
I got ghosted.
you
That's
got
my version of getting ghosted in
you
my
got good.
30s
Let
as
me
a
tell you,
married man.
I've been ghosted by women. That one hurts worse. The
This
golf
one hurts
ghost
worse
hurts
because
worse.
I literally to this day am like, oh, was it something I said? Was it like how I played?
Yeah.
Did I was my etiquette terrible? Was I too much golf etiquette? It still eats me up to this today. Like if I
Yeah.
see this guy at the course, like I'm gonna have to go up to him and be like, was it me? Like,
Right. Who was it?
yeah.
You
I
never
hope he hits me with
answered.
it's not you, it's me. Like
It's not you,
that'd
it's
be
me.
amazing.
It's not your game, it's my game.
Yeah, I'm just it's not what I'm looking for right now.
I felt bad for this guy one time, and I think I told this story on this already, but nobody who gives a shit. I was playing with two friends, I think, at a local muni, and it was very slow. So we're on the back nine. Another guy teams up with us. So at this point we're a fivesome.
Yeah.
It's just so slow that you just kind of, you all get together. And on the 10th tee, this single who's playing the back nine, catches up to us on the 10th tee. And you could tell that's a situation where you're like, it's like posturing, right? Like
Yeah.
he's rolling up. He wanted us to think he was like the man.
Right.
It's a weird situation. Like we're like, yeah, if you want to play with us, you can. So we've all already hit our drives. We're just kind of waiting. So there's this guy, and he's like, now he's got to hit a drive in front of 5 strangers,
Yeah.
And I think there's 2 ways to go about it. You can either kind of like be self-deprecating and be like, oh, this could go anywhere. Or you could be like, kind of like cocky. And he chose the latter. So it was this like 360-yard par 4, not very long, but he's like looking at it. And he's like, you think I'm good? And we're all like looking at it because we don't know this guy's game.
Right.
If he's looking at the people on the green from 360 as that he could get there. Okay. I mean, shit. All right. I can't wait to play this whole 9 holes with you. And he's like, I could probably go. I'll just go. I'm like, this isn't even a question. He probably crushes the ball.
Yeah.
And he rolls it off the tee box. Right. So, and then I could feel his that fight or flight response kick in.
Yeah.
Cause he puts another one down. He's like, I haven't hit a ball like that all day. And he does it again. And it just set him up. He had the most miserable 9 holes of his life.
Yeah.
Because the expectations he set for himself before ever hitting a ball, like he just couldn't live up to.
You're better off getting a hold of one and hitting someone in the head with it.
Yeah.
And then people being like, well, that was impressive. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Like get rushed off the course now, but
the thing about golf, and I think it's a lot, it's similar to comedy where like there's no faking it, right? Like,
yeah,
like you can lie, but then once you start playing,
yeah,
you're exposed immediately.
When you were as you were telling that, I was thinking about like times where I've gotten like booked on a show or like last minute someone's like, hey, can you come in? And it's like an area where say you're going to an area, you've never done comedy there before, and everyone on the lineup is all like the local guys. Like they've done shows there, they know the scene. And it's the same thing. It's like if you go in and you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm down. If I was on this show, I got booked on this, I did that, and then you just bomb.
Yeah.
You look like 1, you're a liar, or 2, you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's better to just go in and be like, I do a little bit. And then if you kill, people are like, oh my God, like, man. Shit. Or
and he's a nice person. How does that work out?
Yeah, I think it's under promise, over deliver is always my favorite. And I learned that like in business years ago and work, like someone was like, if you just under promise something and then over deliver. So like, I'll see if I can hit a ball 200 yards there. And then you hit it 280.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, I'm the underachiever, man.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to you don't want to be if you're called an overachiever, that means people were just like, I didn't think you had this in you at all. You know, you don't want people to think that about. It's not a compliment in my mind. An underachiever.
Showed up. That's incredible.
Yeah, geez. But so, and then comedy. When did comedy start for you?
I've been in comedy been doing stand-up for, I guess, almost 5 years.
Yeah.
4.5, 5 years. I don't know if you can even count this year as a year of comedy with what it's been, but I was living out in Central PA, out in Harrisburg, and it started at the Comedy Zone out there. And I think we talked about it last time. It was literally just like, I didn't start till I was 30 years old. So yeah, I guess 4.5 years I've been doing it. Until I was 30, and it was something that I wanted to do ever since I was 18, 19. I just didn't know, one, what it took to even start in comedy. I never even looked it up though. So it wasn't like, it was just something where I was like, I loved stand up my entire life. It was always on in my house. It still always is. Like it's kind of like the same thing. I kind of hate when people in comedy are like, oh, I don't watch comedy specials anymore. That'd be like if you're like, I don't watch golf anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
I'm with you. I kind of don't watch too many. I watch the specials of people I like, but I also watch a lot of stand up. Like I'll go like on YouTube and be like,
right,
let's see somebody that like a lower level person.
Yeah,
you know, because you can.
Still a fan of it. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, I don't know how long stand up is going to last for me, so I'm always going to be a fan of it. So I'm not going to abandon that for 3 to 4 years when it's going good for me. I don't know. I'm always going to enjoy some part of it. I mean, we're going to sidetrack. But yeah, so I started, I guess, 4.5, 5 years ago. I literally just drove by the place that had the open mic, and they had a sign on the neon bar sign that every week it was like Thursday night, open mic comedy. I'm like, all right, I'm eventually going to try this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. And then finally it was a weekend where my wife went back home to New Jersey, and I was like, all right, well, now's the time to do it. And I'm not going to tell anyone I'm doing it. I'm going to go. I went and got hammered drunk, like out of nerves, had a pretty good first set, and was instantly addicted to it, to the point where I remember my wife called me that night. She's like, where have you been? Like, you haven't answered texts or anything. I'm like, all right, like, let me tell you, I did comedy. She was going to be like, oh God, I thought you were going to say you were cheating on me. Now,
so so far in this episode, you've gotten ghosted by another golfer, and you cheated on your wife with comedy.
With comedy, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the material? Like, do you remember any of the first jokes?
Yeah, my first joke was about my last name just being, my last name is Montague, but it's spelled out like Montague, like Romeo and Juliet. And it was just a joke about how people pronounced it wrong my whole life. I thought it was the greatest material ever written. And then I did it. It got like a chuckle, and I listened to it. I think I've recorded almost all like open mic sets and everything I've done. I've only listened back to 10% of them, but I've gone back and listened to that one a couple times and been like, man, you thought this was incredible. Like you thought this was, I'm like, I'll probably be on Comedy Central within a year.
Oh, did you have those? I had those too. Did you have those like wild illusions?
And I still get them now. It's if I go and I went last week to a local open mic. I haven't been to an open mic in months now because we were doing one outdoors, but I did one and I had a good set, and I was driving home. I was like, maybe it's going to take off. I mean, maybe I'll be at the Cellar this time next year in New York. Like, it's the feeling of feeling good. It's just like playing a good round of golf. You're like, maybe I should compete. And then you get home and you're like, no, you just had 2 good tee shots on 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And you feel good about that round.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, obviously we're in comedy and entertainment. So I don't know, like, but I do think it's way harder. Like I think luck plays more of a factor in what we're doing than golf. Yeah. But you also do hear those stories where the John Daly story. He was like the 5th alternate. Somebody got sick. Somebody got hurt. Somebody, DQ'd or whatever. He's in at what was it, the PGA Championship, and he won, changed his life forever. Or like
right place at the right time, but then being able to deliver at that moment. So in comedy it can happen too. I mean, it could be. I used to hear like stories about. You hear people talking on podcasts all the time about like, oh, they were giving out deals in New York in the late 90s, early 2000s. So like anybody that had 10 minutes, you got like a development deal and all this stuff. So like you still always hold up that hope that like
Yeah.
maybe I'll be at the open mic in Philly at Helium. Maybe the owner, the booker is there. Maybe that it's a lot of like maybe, but
Maybe, yeah.
you still have to be funny. Like
Right.
so
Yeah,
in
yeah.
golf too, it's like, yeah, maybe you found a way, but like you still have to be good.
And
So
I think if I've learned anything with the pandemic, and I think, it's cool to see you doing the same thing where maybe those breaks are they're not handing out deals like they did back in the day. So
right.
making our own shit is where we got to go. That's kind of why I started this.
Yeah.
And last time we talked, that's how, hacks came to be.
Yeah. And
And
it literally it was born out of like I want to do comedy and I can't, and I can golf. I love these two things. How can I merge them? Let's
right.
see if it's fun. Like
Exactly. Exactly. And it's
and
been
it's been
fun. And what is hacks? Like, I mean, I guess we should have talked about this
yeah, no, it's
early
cool.
on, but
So Hacks literally just started. You can shout out to Pat George, our producer. Baby Mermaids Production on Instagram is his name. That's how Pat kind of linked us up a little bit.
yeah,
Um, I was on Pat's podcast with him, and I was telling him like, I want to do something that's fun, that's comedy and fun. Open mics are shutting down, shows are shutting down because of the pandemic. The one joke was like, I want to be the somethingest person in comedy. I was like, I may never be the funniest person in Philadelphia or New Jersey, but I want to be like, maybe I'm the tallest. That's not going to happen. Maybe like it was all born out of there's a comic in Philly who was on one of our episodes, Naeem Ali. He always billed himself as the fastest comic in Philadelphia, but he would foot race people outside of mics and film it, and no one would beat him. So I was like, I love that. I want something. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll be the best golfing comic in the area.
yeah.
And then we shot like our first official episode. We had a guy Al Davis on, and like by the third hole, I was like, all right, Al's way better than me. I guess I'll just be the only comic with a golf show in the greater Philadelphia area. That's my thing. But yeah, I mean, it was born out of like, this could be fun. Let's see if there's anything in it. And
Yeah.
we ended up getting 6 episodes in a first season. We're planning a second season now around the weather and the pandemic, and
Right.
we're trying to figure out something. I didn't want to do like I love that you started a podcast about golf. As soon as I saw it, I was like, comedy and golf. It's exactly what we're
Yep.
doing with Hacks. I love it. I was like, I'm gonna try something other than a podcast. But now I realize it's golf's very weather dependent. So
Yeah, that's when I first started this, I was like, the idea was to play golf, but and be on the course. Money is an issue. People and
yeah,
like people that play is an issue, and then also I wanted to like talk to people because I've worked in golf from like
yeah,
15 years, and I've heard the most wild stories. Like
right.
I don't know what it is about the golf industry, but almost everybody I've encountered is a raging degenerate. I don't know what it is.
Much like comedy.
Yeah. And they have these wild stories, and I wanted to kind of tell them, but then like you start talking to people, or like I got a couple on the show and they can't tell them,
Right,
because they still work. Golf is
right.
like still like tight knit. So if you're
Yeah,
like a caddy and you have this wild story about caddying for some celebrity,
yeah,
you're not going to tell the story because they're not going to hire you again. Like,
right.
so it's like, it's this weird golf. And so I'm trying to figure out, the lane too, but it's like this weird phenomenon because it's so interesting, but yet it's still like almost like, not like a secret society, but a little bit secret society.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and that's like one of the things that we kind of realized once we started doing hacks. Because originally I was like, I put a thing on Instagram that was like, any comedians that golf, get back to me. I had like 3 people that were
Yeah.
like, I golf all the time. And then I was like, all right, well, there's 1 episode, 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Then I had a couple of people who are like, I want to try it. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is more of we'll run the gamut. We'll have guys that have
Yeah.
golfed their whole life. We've taken people out for their first rounds. The guy who was just talking about, Naeem Ali, I was telling you about this last time. Him and Drew Montana, 2 Philadelphia comics, they came out and golfed with us. Drew golfs. Naeem has never golfed before. He's playing right-handed the whole time. And finally, I was like, oh, man, it's a nice putt. And he's like, yeah, could you imagine if I was playing left-handed? I was like, wait, are you a lefty? He's like, yeah, I just did. I was like, like, I don't, and I was like, no, I guess I didn't ask. Are you right-handed or left-handed? He was playing with right-handed clubs, never playing golf before. So, but it was fun because it was, but now it's like, all right, we have another episode. We
Right.
can do
Yeah.
season
Yeah.
two. I got to go find left-handed clubs and get you out on the course again. Hopefully, I don't make you look bad. Like, I'm hoping you're like, at
What
least
if
hit
he's like super good?
that was our thing. I was like, I want this to be like this would be a great movie where it's just he's a very athletic guy. He's in great shape. He boxes all the stuff, and I'm like, what if like I discovered the next like best thing in golf where it's like, yeah, he just never knew how to play. It turns
Yeah,
out we
he's
give
just
him a left-handed club. He's a wizard, like or just
that's
runs the
funny.
hustle.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
but
So when do you think I mean, you're gonna wait till I guess it warms up a little bit or figure out something?
I don't know. Today I'm playing tomorrow for something work related, not comedy or hacks related. And we're playing. I don't know if you've ever played Riverwinds down here in South
Mm.
Jersey. So it's a Ron Jaworski owned course. I used to work at it
Ooh.
in high school. And
I caddied for Ron Jaworski
okay,
actually the Mid Penn Bank shootout. I was his
really,
caddy. Yeah.
how was he? Was he good?
At golf?
Yeah,
He's all right.
he seems like a great. I've only seen him. So he owns a bunch of courses in the Philly area now.
Yeah.
And I've played in outings at some of his courses, and he'll show up and do the honorary like first tee shot. And like he'll start talking right after he makes contact, so you don't really see where it goes. He's like, "Oh, I want to listen to Ron talk," and then you're like, "Oh wait, where does ball land?" Like,
It might be by design.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like anyway
Yeah.
in the '72 season. Um. So anyway, yeah, I'm playing there tomorrow, and it lives up to its name. So it's River Winds. It's a course on the Delaware River. Beautiful course, but windy and 10 degrees colder than whatever the weather says it's going to be.
Oh shit.
So I went to the hardware store and bought a butane heater that is meant for like a deck. I'm gonna see if it works in a golf cart. If it does, I think we can film hacks throughout the winter if I can get people that'll want to.
There
This is where I'll
is
find the real golfers because I don't think you can get a non golfer out in mid January to
there
golf.
there is butane stuff for golf carts. I know that
Yeah,
exists.
so the one that you can order wouldn't have arrived by tomorrow, so I'm gonna see if I can rig this one up with duct tape
Yeah.
and the cup holder and see if it fits. We'll see. If the next time I'm on, I have like third-degree burn scars on the side of my
Yeah.
face. It
But
was not a
people,
success.
have you noticed that people, even if they're not golfers, they're kind of interested in golf? Like, because I know golf is up. I think a lot of people that never played.
Yeah,
Because during the summer I was playing a ton of golf too, and I would do this thing on Instagram. I would share a picture of the hole, and I would
I
put
love
like
that.
4 numbers and have people guess where it was going.
Yeah,
And it got so like people like still message me like, "Hey, why did you stop doing that thing?" And I'm like, "Well, I
yeah.
stopped playing golf." But it's crazy how something so simple, you know,
You know what's funny is like it's a lot around like comedy too. If someone's hesitant because they're not sure how to get into it, like how like oh I can't just show up at a golf course and start golfing. Like you can just pick the right course where it's not
yeah,
going to be an issue that it's your first time,
right,
or go with someone that knows how to golf. That's been my new favorite thing with hacks was when we learned like early on we weren't going to be able to have comedians that are golfers. I was like, well, now we're going to I want to open it up and show people because golf does have this like stuffy stigma around it that it's a
yeah,
clubhouse, like it's country club thing. And I wanted to show people it's like, no, you can get dirty and gritty playing municipal courses,
yeah,
having fun. And the couple people we brought out that have never played before afterwards were like, oh wow, this is
yeah,
fun, or oh, this is not easy, but it's more accessible than I thought it was.
exactly. And I do follow like the golf things on Instagram, and people. The thing that annoys me the most is somebody will like foreplay will upload some video from somebody golfing that's like a regular person. They don't look like a typical golfer. Their shirt's untucked.
It's
And then
yeah,
some dickhead is in the comments like, tuck your shirt in. Show
yeah.
respect. It's like, shut up.
There,
Shut up.
there's social media is ruining golf in two different ways. There's that because people become elitist, and then there's the opposite end where Barstool is just posting too much bro stuff.
Yeah.
And it's already like guys in our 30s, we already get the stigma of like, oh, there's a white bro. Like,
Yeah.
I've never laid on my back and had a golf cart push me while chugging a beer.
Yeah. No.
I've never driven a golf. I respect the game enough that I've never driven a golf cart into a sand trap and ramped it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and
you
that's
know,
where it's becoming like a knucklehead thing on Instagram.
and
Like,
also like Instagram, and I hope this doesn't come off sexist, but like I like the PG. Like every year I do a stand up show in Orlando. Like it's at the same time as the LPGA Tour Tournament of Champions.
oh wow,
And so I go and I watch the LPGA tournament, and they're fucking good. They're really good golfers. Nobody knows them really, but then you got like Instagram models like holding a golf club like with hundreds of thousands of followers.
yep,
And I get it, you know, they're wearing a bikini, guys like it, but there's also like somebody on the LPGA tour who could shoot, you know, a 59,
right.
and they have like nobody knows who they are. It's a little frustrating because it's like the most famous female golfers aren't even on tour.
Pat and I always joke around about this. Is like as soon as he started doing hacks and like started following some golf stuff, it instantly the discovery page on Instagram became golf sluts, and it's just like there's no better way to put it. They do like you said. They're like, oh, we have this model. She needs to find a market, but if there is a thing, social media will make it slutty to the point where there's an influence in there. And we always joked around because Pat plays disc golf, frisbee golf, which I was like, oh, we're gonna do an episode of that. And sure enough, it came on my discovery page. There's disc golf like sluts, basically. And I'm not trying to knock them but the all-encompassing term of it is a girl in a bikini in the woods playing disc golf. Like,
right. Which that's fine. That's fine. There's definitely, but
I guarantee you, there's probably disc golf. There's probably some girl that is the greatest disc golf player in the country, like you said, and she probably has 2,000 followers and gets no respect.
Right. And I'm not, not knocking from do what you got to do, and I'm not saying they're bad, but it's got to be frustrating for the professional, you know, LPGA tour player who's like sweating over a putt, you know, to make the cut. And that's a travesty a little bit because guys don't have to deal with that, you know.
Right.
You know, Rory McIlroy doesn't have to deal with like taking his shirt off. Even and then as much as Brooks Koepka wants to take his shirt off, people don't give a shit. People don't say, "Yo, put your shirt back on, dude."
Yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, and you just hope that eventually, and it is funny because it depends on like if you're outside of golf and you see that, you're like, oh, that's all women in golf. But it's like you and I know that there are incredible female golfers. Like I recently had a daughter, and I've told my wife, I was like, she's gonna golf in college. And the only reason I say that is because I remember my aunt telling me like there's so few female golfers that like her roster would be 4 really good girls and then 3 girls that kind of just knew how to golf. And they grew up in Florida, so they played a lot. Like, so
I'd be interested to know what your aunt says about the social media landscape with golf.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her about it.
Ask her, because maybe we're way off. Maybe we're just, you know, being judgmental. I don't know, but you know, I guess there's a spot for everybody.
I think one of the things I wanted to say this earlier too, when we were talking about like how golf can give bigger to the masses. I think it's the only professional sport where 95% of the people watching it also play it.
Yeah.
Or did play it. Like I watched the NBA. I played high school basketball till freshman year. Like I don't play basketball anymore, but I love the NBA.
Yeah.
Golf is like very niche in that there's not many people watching it that aren't out actually golfing or used to golf.
Right. So, that's true.
And I think they've done a good job with trying to make golf more accessible to everybody. That I think that's the way you got to do it. You got to get more people golfing in order to get more people watching.
Right. And it's an accessibility thing. You got to make it more accessible to people. It's an expensive sport. It requires space too. So if you're somebody from like an inner city, it's hard to get to a golf course. It's hard to get equipment to play golf.
Yeah.
So that's gotta. I feel like there's got to be some. I don't know.
I will say, anyone that's listening and wants something to donate to First Tee.
Yeah.
In whatever city you're in. My aunt used to be a big part of the First Tee, and I see it here. So I live right next to Camden in South Jersey, and the driving range I go to all the time, there's the First Tee of Camden is there, and it's a lot of inner city kids that are there with these amazing. They all have Callaway bags, and they're all loving the game, and they're getting pulled out of a bad situation, introduced to something great.
Right.
So
yeah, I used to work for the First Tee.
okay,
I used to teach golf. It was really fun. It was like the most fun, because I was like 21.
Yeah.
The other instructors were 21. These kids thought we were like gods because we could hit, like, they see you hit a driver like kind of good, and they're like, "Oh my god," So you feel like,
that's right.
yeah, all
Pretty much
day.
on tour. Don't look it up anyway.
Well, all right.
Yeah, that's an amazing organization.
Yeah,
and it's not even just like a friend of mine has his son in it to teach him how to play golf, and he's well enough off. He's not hurting, but he's it's a program he can get into. So it's not just pulling people out of bad situations.
Yeah.
You want your kid to learn how to play golf, and you don't know how to teach them, send them to First Tee.
And they learn like the ethics of it. They learn how to like the sportsmanship of it. And I run into kids that I taught that were in the program, and they still talk to the other kids in the First Tee. So it's really cool.
That's incredible.
And it's awesome. So definitely look up the First Tee.
And if you don't want to donate to that, if you're a golfer and you want to further the game, take someone golfing.
Right.
Pass it on to one person. And same thing, if you're a comedian and someone wants to be in comedy, take them to an open mic.
Yeah.
Introduce
or just convince them to do better. Just do not go to an open mic.
Yeah, or
please.
talk to someone to stop going over. That too.
All right, John. Well, this was fun, and this won't get deleted. I promise. This will actually go. This will go out. But yeah, we'll do this again. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's check in a lot. And thanks for coming on. Check out Hacks. It's at Hacks Comedy Golf, right?
Yep.
And there's 6 episodes out on YouTube. Check them out. And
YouTube, IGTV, however you get your content.
Yeah, the content's out there, folks.
Nothing on Facebook, but Facebook's for old people.
Yeah, Facebook's for
golf, but
Facebook's just for politics anymore.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, yeah, check out at Hacks Comedy Golf. John, thanks so much. This was fun, and we'll catch you next time.
I really appreciate it.